douglAR Politics, Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. douglAR Politics. Rowley don't like the word jab. He don't like jab. But Rowley's entire government marketing campaign with Calypso, soca, advertisement, radio, TV is jab. So he is not aware of his advertisement and communication strategy or lack thereof to try to negate the vaccine hesitancy in Trinidad and Tobago. He does not even know what his government that he is the prime minister of is doing. He's studying horny goat weed. Why horny goat weed on your mind, Rowley? What about the horny goat weed you like? What is the efficacy of the horny goat weed? Or should we interview Donna Cox, Judy Raymond? Should we interview some of the other ladies that have passed through like sail ships in the wind on the open seas through you, Rowley? Should we ask them about the horny goat weed? You're under pressure. They always say a man who need horny goat weed would just be vexed and book and lie and make up stories and shout and be arrogant. He always tries to make up for lack of performance, Rowley. Rowley, what going on, boy? You alright? You alright, Row? Alright, it wouldn't stay floppy forever. Oh, sorry, it will. It's over. The flop is here to stay. douglAR Politics, Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Tuesday, log on, popcorn, juice, get your orchard. Not only orchard, get your natural juice with nice brown sugar and get ready. douglAR Politics, 7:30 p.m. Tuesday night.
douglAR Politics. Listen, douglAR Politics, yeah. douglAR Politics. This is douglAR Politics, yeah. douglAR Politics. This is douglAR Politics. douglAR Politics. This is douglAR Politics, yeah. douglAR Politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Let me start with a little sport first now. The Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee Sport Company, they call for total support of Trinidad and Tobago athletes. So what was your work? A Ministry of Sport Company, TTOC, that is not all your work to support the athletes from the beginning to prepare to go for the Olympics. 6 years now, you're in charge. Shampa, the only thing you in charge and you change your look. The next one, have a big tall afro, Brian Lewis, who never do nothing in sport, are in charge there, screening for PNM and getting rejected. And then, of course, Douglas Old Man Camacho, the man who in charge of hockey, and he can't put on an astroturf for them in 6 years, all the taxpayers' dollars. You all calling for support? It is your job to support. Let me hear this article. Let me read this from The Guardian. Really. Walter Allaby article, Sunday, August 15th, 2021. Both entities have put their money where their mouth is, and they're now asking all to refocus. He's talking about this Ministry of Sport and the sport company putting their money where their mouth is? Really and truly? Well, where their mouth is, up in Rowley, Capax. Because they have cut funding to sport over the last 6 years. Guardian reporter, editor, newspaper. The budget under Kamla Prasad Bisesa in the NPI vote was 140 million. Plus there was special cabinet notes for special events like the TT Pro League, the Super League, the cricket. Different aspects got extra funding outside of the norm for the NPI vote. The PNM cut that from 140 million down to 10 million. And you're all saying that they put the money where their mouth is? Yes, they put the money and they eat it because the athletes didn't get it. They cut funding across the board. No medical late for elite. They cut the number of elite. No funding for coaching. They cut the caravan. They cut travel. They cut allocation to every sporting organization. They cut the units in the sport company down to skeleton. They have cut maintenance where the velodrome air condition breakdown and couldn't work. The pool went green. The aquatic center, no coaching, no diving, not a child who synchronized swimming or dive off the 10-meter platform going for Olympics. But you all saying they put the money where their mouth is? Look, they continued. Team TTO became the subject of criticism from all quarters. No. Team TTO didn't get criticized from all quarters. The Minister of Sport, Rowley, the PNM government, Douglas Camacho, chairman of the sport company, Brian Lewis, president of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee. Those are the ones who got criticism from all quarters, not our athletes, not those who went and put blood, sweat and tears for the country. Nobody criticized them as, well, nobody with brain. TV6. I can't help all you. Nobody criticized Team TTO. The criticism comes from the lack of support for our athletes, putting them out into the world to fight a war without preparation. They continued. They got criticism from the public for its inability to return home with no medals. What? For its inability to return home with no medals? Who wrote that? The inability to return home with no medals. We returned home with no medals, so we were able to do that because of the lack of preparation by the minister, Shamfa, by the PNM, by Rowley, by the government. That's why we did that. So we were able to come home without medals because Douglas Camacho and the sport company did not prepare the athletes. They cut funding, and what they doing with the funding, only Douglas Camacho know. Critics like former national sprinter Arto Bolden, right? She and her administration, Shamfa and her administration, made sure that the athletes were prepared. Really? And then they come with one of the objectives of the Sporting Policy 2017 to 2027 is to ensure that the national governing bodies, athletes and members of sporting fraternity had access to funds. How can they have access to funds when the minister cannot access funds? The minister goes to cabinet and nobody tells her good morning, takes her seriously. Nobody cares how she look, whether she look different, where she went or how she went. They get no money. Rowley does not take her seriously. They cut the budget down to 10 million. How 10 million could be divided into 49 national sporting organizations and get some sort of efficacy out of that, some sort of boost? Men can't get that kind buy doubles for everybody. She continued. Their governing bodies and directly to athletes the tune of over $150 million for fiscal 2015 to 2016 to date. They're trying to say that they spent $150 million on the athletes. That's not true. That includes your recurrent expenditure and so on. How much you spent on athletes is minuscule. It did not even cross 12 million. Furthermore, football alone need about 25 million per year for the national team, men and women, girls and boys. Then football also needs Super League and so on, 11 million. That 36 million already. All your budget is 10 million. Cricket need 11 to 12 million dollars. And the other sporting organizations, swimming, water polo, diving, them need $1 million or 1.5 million go across the board. So where you go, how you going to divide 10 million and but oh, you gave them funding? You all have no shame. You were a disgrace and you let down our children and put them out there. Hockey teams, look at that. Who is that all you have up there?
Martin Daly.
Oh, good, Martin Daly. All you didn't tell me that. Oh, Lord. Martin Daly. Listen to this carefully. This is Martin Daly, senior counsel, former independent senator Martin Daly. The athletes have been bestowed with the title elite athletes to justify the disbursement of millions of dollars. We do not have a clue how the millions are spent. Wow, Martin Daly. I never saw so much stupidity plugged into such few words. You are exceptional. You are an exceptional idiot. The athletes have been bestowed with the title elite. No, they have not been bestowed with anything. There is a criteria, an objective criteria, top 40 in the world based on the rankings of each sport. For example, in swimming, if Dylan Carter swims a certain time at the end of the year and he's ranked in the top 40 in the world, he is deemed to have gained and earned the title of elite athlete. It's not bestowed upon him. It's something that he earns. Furthermore, elite athlete was not done to justify disbursement of millions of dollars. The maximum outlay for an elite athlete is 250,000 TT per year. The average amount of money required to prepare an athlete of that caliber to compete at the world level is upwards of 1.1 million TT. So when you don't know, you must hush, Martin Daly. When you talk about millions of dollars being disbursed, how many briefs you have received from the PNM and the government over the years? How many briefs have you received? How much favors have you received? How did you get senior counsel? Is senior counsel an objective criteria that you can determine certain amount of cases over a certain number of years at a certain high level, and therefore it's an objective criteria and any lawyer could achieve senior counsel? Or does it have a lot to do with who you know or who you rub shoulders with in the elite? Is the wife of the Prime Minister working in your law firm, Martin Daly? How long has she worked there? Was she working there before, during, or after you were sworn in as an independent senator? Did you disclose this fact that you had a very close relationship with one side rather than the other in a two-party political system as you swore on the Bible to be independent? Did you disclose that? Are you aware of the term apparent bias, Martin Daly? What are you talking about, elites? Weren't you some years ago, 23 years ago, on the board of RBC? And when people had to take mortgage for the house, and I'm hearing for car and all, that every mortgage from that bank had to go through your law firm, don't you think that's a bit elitist? Or is that competitive? Is that fair? Is that democratic? Is that everybody getting a fair opportunity to provide legal services? Or did you have a monopoly on it? You talking about elitists because you drive down by Playboys to listen to Pan and drink scotch and eat shrimps with fellas who is your partners and them? You are talking about elitists when you only get to write in the newspapers and get into the Senate because of where you born and how you look. When you live in your mansion up on the hill with your millions of dollars, you talking about our athletes being elitists? Let me tell you something. When those athletes perform for Trinidad and Tobago, what their value to us is priceless. Could you put an iota, could you put a monetary value on when Dylan Carter swims and Trinidad and Tobago in the professional circuit and we all over TV and 10 million people view him and he comes across and he goes to universities and everybody knows him and people will come to Trinidad and Tobago and he talks to about 20 different individuals at competitions every day about Trinidad and Tobago and come in here to train and the facilities we have. How much you want to pay him for that? How much you pay Hazy Crawford? How much you pay Keshawn Walcott when Trinidad and Tobago is emblazoned on their chest? How much you pay Richard Thompson to fight down coming behind Bolt? The most watched race in the history of the Olympics. Usain Bolt 100 meters 2008 Beijing Olympics. Who was second? Richard Thompson, Trinidad and Tobago. How much is that value? How much is that put in the mind share of the population, the global population? Millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, and you begrudge our athletes money and millions? How much millions you get from your law firm in government briefs? Martin Daly, go and scratch, boy. And let me tell you something. There is nothing more corrupt than a human being who swears on the Bible to be independent when he knows for himself that he is not. Does that apply to you, Martin Daly, SC, so-called? So rest me and don't attack my athletes. And we in the government and whoever, the politicians, the people, the taxpayers, we want more support for our athletes. And we don't begrudge them some money to help them train, to put blood, sweat, and tears on our behalf. Martin Daly, you ever do anything for this country? What have you done? You can look like you can't even walk straight around the savannah. They had to give you a protractor and a divider to make sure you keep straight with your bent up self. Look, movie now. From one clown Martin Daly to his good friend Douglas Camacho, another elite. From one elite to another elite. And he talking about elite. Douglas Camacho is the chairman of the hockey board, Trinidad and Tobago Hockey Board. He has been the sport company chairman in charge of funding for 4 or 5 years of the PNM. When a man was starving outside the Prime Minister office because of a highway that building to Point 14, a man say he didn't eat food for 285 days. Douglas Camacho was outside there many days, encouraging the man to protest against Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the People's Partnership government with the old PNM self. Why you didn't take all that time and effort to support the athletes as they should have been supported, Douglas Camacho? Imagine Trinidad and Tobago Hockey Board chairman cannot put on an AstroTurf for hockey to play for the last 4 or 5 years. Imagine Gary Griffith come after he and pass he and put on an AstroTurf right there in St. James. More hockey go play there. Douglas Camacho talking about what he do for sport. You only there because of your elite stupid position that you could lick K-Pax, Douglas Camacho. You have done nothing. You are a local horse. You cannot even step out into the Caribbean derby. You've done nothing internationally. You play political games here. You put yourself in charge. Keep the boys club, and you're a total abject failure. You have nothing to resume. Say what you did. You played, you went to the Olympics, you qualified, you're captain a hockey team that qualified for the World Championship. What you did, you were the MVP in an international Pan-American tournament, the Commonwealth Games. What did you do, Douglas Camacho, other than be here, look pink, and talk stupidness? But look at this too. As I say that, imagine them talk about how they're supporting sport. Let me read that story from Today paper, Tuesday, August 17. Page 45, Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. Let me read that for you. Trinidad and Tobago junior men and women hockey teams face the possibility of going into their opening matches at the Junior Pan American Hockey Championship on Saturday within hours of their arrival in Santiago, Chile. The junior men's team is set to face pre-tournament favorites Argentina from 11:30 on Saturday, while the junior women squad is due to battle with the women's powerhouse USA on Saturday. So here it is, our hockey teams, national hockey teams that have been preparing for the World Cup qualifiers. These World Cup qualifiers have been scheduled for the last 2 years or more. We know when they are occurring and where they're happening. Douglas Camacho is the head and chairman of sport company under the PNM. He is also the chairman of the hockey board. But these two teams cannot leave Trinidad and Tobago to get to Santiago, Chile in time to acclimatize, settle down, train, get a touch of the ball, get a touch of the AstroTurf, feel the game, feel good, eat, get settled, to play Argentina. And let's find out why. Because of the unavailability of flights, really. And somebody, Douglas Camacho and them trying to say, well, it's 50 people, so what? You have 2 years to plan, 3 years to plan. How long it takes? If you have to go in flights, if you have to go in group of 10, it's 5 different flights. You put a manager, a coach, a ball lady, a chaperone on each flight, and they go 10, 10, 10, 10. You go on 2 planes, 25, 25. You organize, but you could not get funding. That's the problem. The funding come late, so now the children scrambling. And this is the next 3 years to 2024. We starting off the same exact way. Incompetence, stupidity, lack of heart, lack of understanding, and dotishness. Why Douglas Camacho, Champa, Brian Lou, why all you do just resign? You're like totally incompetent and totally useless. But somehow, what you like to do, interview on TV6. Oh God, yes. Well, we did very good. Yes, mommy, if you saw me on TV, I look cute. Huh? That's what you like? Because this cannot be right. Our young athletes are now going out one to the slaughter. Imagine you going to play Argentina, you now land with your passport. Hey, ¿dónde vive? Trinidad y Tobago. Bienvenido a Santiago de Chile. Vamos. Hockey game, boom, 10-0. How could you do children that? And call yourself administrators and managers and talking about what you did and your 10-year strategic plan, your 10-year K-Pax licking waste of time, waste of useful sperm, Douglas Camacho. If your father only knew about prophylactics. Well, anyway, let's move on. National Cycling Center to gain UCI satellite center status. UCI is the International Cycling Federation. The National Cycling Center is going to get satellite status, which means it's a global training area for all the world because of the quality of the satellite center, the cycling velodrome in Cuba, built by Kamla Persad. Everybody do it now. Even you PNM who watching, even you People's National Movement. Let's go. Kamla. All you do it, don't feel shame. The country getting big up because I think Kamla do. This is a good story here. This is very interesting. I got a little good feeling. Newsday, page 11. The DPP visits scene of police triple killing in Mova. It's a good sign. First time I seen that kind of action. I say no more because of you they say. But I just saying. Remember the video we saw? And then Stuart Smallpin Young saying that young black people was too stupid and dotish to watch our video and know that the rights of those individuals were not upheld, that they were abused, that something was wrong, that black young children could not watch our video and find that was excessive force, that something was wrong, that how they pick up dead bodies, how the hand was up, they couldn't see that something was wrong. Stuart Smallpin, elitist young, who have no rhythm, he rhythm sticking in no soul. When he tried to do the left foot, right foot, it's like he had 3 left foot. He saying that the UNC pay young black people to be smart and realize that their rights were being trampled upon. Well, we don't pay people to be smart. We believe in young people, and young people could make sense from nonsense. And it appears that the DPP is doing that too. As we talking sense from nonsense, I'm going to hold up something for all you. If all you're eating popcorn, nuts, hot dog, polori, you might have had some doubles that you heat up in the microwave. Hold it. Don't take a bite now, because you might choke. Hold it. Are you ready? Watch this. PNM put out this. PNM Airport Authority. Actually come in, boy. Let the people see what the PNM do, boy. Look at what the PNM put. Trinidad and Tobago, best airport in the Latin American Caribbean, and the Airports Authority put out an ad boasting best airport in the Caribbean, Piarco International Airport, boy. What? Pull back. PNM, oh God, the goat eat all your shame, boy. The goat, where the goat? Where, look, put the goat, is alright. Put the goat in the dark, yes, Rowley like the goat in the dark. Take it, point in the dark, man. Show me the goat and Rowley there. Where Rowley and the goat? The goat eat all your shame, boy, PNM. PNM the cow shed. PNM, boy, you better thank Bastille Pandey. You better thank Brian Quaitong. You better thank Ishgal Ransing and Steve Ferguson. All you want to talk, all of that corruption, all you talk. And the airport, the cowshed is the best. Hey, move that goat from by me, boy, Rowley. Hold your friend now. Cool it. Me like your friend, Rowley. And look at this now. If all you thought the goat eat all the shame, I'm going to read something for you. Don't take a bite of your food yet. Congrats on historic best airport victory. The best airport built by the UNC. that the PNM call corrupt, cowshed, thief, lock up, all kind of thing for years to come back in power. Best, the editor, in my capacity, oh good, well I'm selling it out right there at the top. In my capacity as Minister of Works and Transport, it is my privilege to extend congratulations to the Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago for Piarco International Airport's monumental and historic win. Rohan Sinanan, Minister of Oh God! All your PNM, let me go again. Kamla, Bastille, UNC. Look the yellow chair. Oh God, all you see the yellow chair. Look. All you have no shame, PNM. Let me tell you something. All you couldn't even watch it and just leave that aside and say, oh, let's leave that, boy. Let me just leave that. Let me don't do that now. All you come bold face. All you put ad, minister writing paper. But you see the difference? When the PNM lies on the UNC, they talk corruption, everything in UNC is corruption. But whether you only want to say it corruption, that look, the airport is the best airport in the Caribbean. When the PNM have corruption, let me take one example. Taruba Brian Lara Stadium, budgeted at $175 million, finish off at $1.34 billion. $1.2 billion cost overruns. It was supposed to be built for the Cricket World Cup 2007 under the People's National Movement, of which is very rowdy in, but all of them was there. All the other countries in the Caribbean, Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Kitts, Jamaica built Trelawney, all kind of stadium built at an average of $5,000 per seat. You know how much you pay under the PNM for your stadium? $125,000 per seat, an excess of $120,000 per seat. No, we ain't see no Brian Lara Stadium, Taruba Stadium getting no best stadium in the Caribbean, Latin America or nothing. In fact, they had about 4 match day, and in one match it rained, and boy, before the match start, when the camera pan in the crowd, you're watching and you're saying, oh Lord, Trinidad and Tobago has sweet woman, boy. Sweetness, sweet. God, look at that, nice. Then the rain fall, boy. And all them women get wet. And half of them eyelash come down by the lip gloss go down the neck, the makeup and up so, the weave gets soaked to the right, and it come down because the stadium built so bad that when it rain, even in the VIP seats, everybody get wet down. The only man had it dry and nice was the horny goat-weed man. All you remember him with the little Venezuelan upset. Oh, let's forget the picture. Look at him there. Horny goat-weed man. He's the only man was dry because he inside snuggling. He ain't studying too much cricket. So we moving on. PNM, the goat-eat, all your shame, boy. You know, the next thing I'm going to talk about, I see the Sunday Business Guardian as strong as ever. Answer McCall to invest more in Latin America, poised for growth in the region, wants to be around for another 140 years. Answer McCall. Now let me say, as a Trinbagonian, I proud of all you. I proud of Sabga and his son, they now, his grandson, proud for Trinbagonians to achieve such greatness, elite performance in any sphere, in the sphere of business, profit, management, diversification, brilliant, creating jobs, creating investment, bringing in foreign direct investment, well done in efficiency, in management, in diversification of your portfolio. Answer McCall, brilliant. Well, the Guardian, nonsense, right? But that's okay. I ain't gonna kill the whole corporation for that stupidity. So to the Sabgas, to Mr. Sabga, Grandpapa Sabga, this Sabga, and the grandson Sabga, Well done. But let me ask you this. The same brilliance, efficiency, discipline, creativity, world-class product, world-class service that you expect from your group and from all your managers and employees and so on. How come you don't expect that for us as a country? How come you can accept Rowley and the PNM, their incompetence, their indiscipline, their lack of management, their lack of creativity, their lack of frugality, their poor investment, their poor marketing, their poor planning, their poor implementation? How come you accept that and support that for me and my citizens while you promote brilliance, discipline, creativity, implementation, management, teamwork for Answer McCall? I want y'all to answer. I read in the next version. I want y'all to tell me, because I'm not joking, I am proud of this. You are sons of the soil, Trinidad and Tobago, proud. But how come you can reach this level of height, of brilliance, but you leave for me, my children, my country, the low incompetence of Rowley and his government? How you justify that? Please explain to me. I'm willing to listen and learn and understand, Mr. Sabga and Mr. Sabga. How? Because Rowley couldn't work for all you. Too lazy, too worthless, too dotish, not creative, can't manage, both, no skill, no implementation, no budgeting, everything overruns, don't finish nothing. He could not work for y'all. Y'all would have fired him. So why are you encouraging and putting him on top of all of us? That cannot be right, Mr. Sabga and Mr. Sabga. But the answer on that is irrelevant. But I congratulate y'all on your company and how it's well managed and well run. You could try to get a newspaper to be a little bit, to promote journalism rather than stupidity. But the rest of the things going good. Now, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss something. Because the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, is calling a snap election because he expects to expend certain amount of money for the people of Canada, and he, being the classy man of integrity, morality, propriety, and accountability, says that he needs to get a mandate from the people to implement his plan. We had an election last year, and PNM didn't even present a manifesto until 9 days before the election. All they didn't even read it, but we had an election. So, developed country when 2030, we gone backwards to 1910. We coming back.
Say when. Blessing to all. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. Join me this Thursday the 19th for another Facebook Live at 7:30 p.m. sharp. Yes.
What time, boy, Victor?
7:30 p.m. sharp.
But down by you have fire, flood, tornado. It's only PNM down there, boy, and then people still voting PNM. What are you going to tell them Thursday night?
Maklashe, Kazem Hussein, Kennedy, you all could run, but you cannot hide. Join me this Thursday as we deal with issues that affect this country. I'm out.
The UNC, we coming for all you. All you feel all you have safe seat. No PNM safe politically. Victor Roberts, 7:30 on the dot. Thursday. Bless. And welcome back. As we're talking about it, this is Prime Minister. The man talk. He said, listen, I have a plan. I have to get a mandate from the people. Even though he had an overwhelming majority, he called a snap election, and that's what he does. Listen, we have a man here who called an election in the middle of a pandemic because he heard that the media sell a story. We're #1 in the world and they call an election. And the airport, the border was closed. Trinbagonians can't come home. The only country in the world to deny its citizens the right to repatriate. And all you closed down the borders. 116 positive cases. No community spread. 54 days, no deaths. We stuck at 8 deaths, but border closed, plane car fly. Now, we are Brazilian variant. Delta variant is all of a sudden inevitable. It bound to come. So the first COVID wasn't bound to come. We locked down. We tried to not keep it. The Brazilian variant wasn't bound to come, but it come through the porous borders with them saying, nah, illegal immigrant, they're bringing nothing. But now we have Brazilian variant since May 11, 90% of cases and deaths Brazilian. Delta variant bound to come now. But airport open and porous borders, everything open. I'm asking all of you businessmen, you intelligent men with masters, who I was having argument with last year, August, before election, when y'all were of the opinion that Rowley was doing so good in COVID. What say you now that the truth has arrived? And Rowley was mama-guying all you, and the media was mama-guying all you and fooling y'all. Imagine intelligent people like y'all got fooled by stupidity. If you do not test, you have no COVID, no contact tracing, no testing, no PCR, no viability, no systems in place, no salary grants, no business grants, lockdown for no reason, no exemption policy with no sense whatsoever, porous borders, all of that existed. But somehow you all thought Rowley, who had failed for 4 years before that, 4.5 years of total failure, all of a sudden, you all believe what the media, what the newspapers, what the editors were trying to sell all you, that Rowley was doing great in COVID, and he got a little spike and called an election, and you all voted him in. 2,600 votes. He won by in 2 seats to be prime minister, to continue his incompetent run. And Trinidad and Tobago is suffering across the board now. What say y'all? If Rowley was to call an election now, what would y'all businessmen do? Now that you see that there's no security around our Twin Island state, that illegal immigrants could come in and bring in what they want, that crime is out of hand, even though we're in a state of emergency and a pandemic, we still have murder rate. The economy is shattered, gas sector shattered, foreign exchange non-existent, savings depleted. What are we going to do? What would you all vote for now? But watch Canada. Canada have a real prime minister. Other countries have real leaders who talk the truth, who build trust, and who get a mandate. That's what democracy is about. Not both cuss and goatweed. Run it.
This is a really important moment in Canada's history.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Sunday called an early election for September 20th, saying he needed a new mandate to ensure voters approved of his Liberal government's plan to recover from the health crisis.
As Canadians know, this is a moment where we're going to be taking decisions that will last not just for the coming months, but for the coming decades. And Canadians deserve their say.
Canadians deserve their say. Could you imagine a bald-head Oreo, a goat, standing up in a press conference? Even the Prime Minister's suit look better, look classy, well-fit, classic look. We have a clown with Hawaiian shirt and mix and match, talking about horny goat weed and jackass the scene. This clown here, this one, could you imagine him saying in a humble tone, Trinbagonians deserve their say. We need to hear from you. We want to know that you agree with our plans and programs for your future, for your children's future. Can y'all hear that Jack? Well, they finish it off saying that. Could you imagine what we do to deserve this? Y'all never ask yourself that, especially those who vote for this. What we do to deserve that? The Guardian says positive signs. The retail sector reopened for business across Trinidad and Tobago. Positive signs, says the Guardian. Last weekend, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley made it clear that this country, like others globally, must come to realize the virus is not going anywhere and that we must live with it? Really, Guardian? All of a sudden the virus ain't going nowhere, but we must live with it. But March 22nd, 2020, citizens can't come home because they are COVID. People who born here can't come home, suppressing their constitutional rights. But that was okay. But now the virus here, we must live with it. The Brazilian variant was here and we must live with it. We must live with the porous borders. We must live with the incompetence. We must live with the ICU. Once you reach there, it's coughing. We must just live with that. We must live with the arrogance. We must live with the stupidity. We must live without vaccine. We must live with Rowley telling we to take what we get. That's what we must live with, Guardian. You see why I have a problem, Mr. Sabga? You cannot celebrate your brilliance of your corporation while a company under your corporation writes this crap. You see my problem? And if you vex with me, I really couldn't care less. But if you would like to respond, how can you justify this stupidity with such a brilliant corporation as Ansa McCall? We're moving from one bag of stupidity to the next one. Coleman Burt, the Duen, has risen up once again to tell you, the people, $5 billion spent on COVID relief. Really? Let's get down into his numbers and see. $5 billion. He said 75 million was spent on vaccines. We could discuss that on Friday, right? He also confirmed that 150 million has been paid out via the salary relief grant since 2020. Salary relief grant is for people, you the citizens, to give you some relief. He says that COVID-19 relief is $5 billion. But yet he says salary relief grant that he pay out to you the people is 150 million, leaving an excess of $4.85 billion. If you all don't know, a billion is 1,000 million, right? Like how that man revving up right now at 1,000 revs per minute down here in Marabella, making a set of noise down by Atlantic Studios. Check out Atlantic Studios. All your support with boy Archie. But let's do some little mathematics now. You the people, this is your money, you know. But he's saying that he spent $5 billion, but only 150 million for you the people. Let's analyze that. He then went on to say that 147.8 million had been paid out to 91,393 applicants from 2020. Now this Duen is a very skillful skull artist. When I was in the parliament with him, out of the 12 PNM members, which included Rowley and Nylon Hippolyte and Marlene McDonald and the lady from Aruka Maloney and so on, the only man I used to have to listen to carefully, because he's quite intelligent for himself and he can change words and skillfully change the debate and the meanings of words and laws because he's been there so long. So he might say may instead of shall. Reading, you know. That's how dastardly this one is. So listen to what he has said here and let me show you how this man plays games with the truth. He says 91,393 applicants. Okay, that sounds to you, as you read that, as 91,393 people applied and got grants. So 91,393 citizens got grants. Isn't that what you get from that? Well, here's the problem. Do you all recall that in 2020, the grants were you apply and each person who gets a grant would get 3 months by $1,500. When you check and you divide 91,393 into $147.8 million, you know what you get? $1,617, which means you get 1 month grant. So call me, but utilize each month that somebody got as an applicant in order to tell you and pretend to you that 2 extra people per grant got grants. So it's not 91,393 people who got grants. It's months of grant. So you have to divide that by 3 and you get, out of the 150 million that I used, but it's really 147.8, you get 33,000 people got the grants. Because each person was supposed to get $1,500 by 4,500 over a 3-month period. So could you believe, out of $5 billion this man say he spent on COVID relief, only 33,334 citizens got a little bit of help? Out of 1,010,000 adult people in Trinidad and Tobago. Do you think that's great? That's good? Before COVID, 103,000 people lost jobs. During this pandemic, in this last 18 months, 120,000 people lost jobs. And only 33,334 people got a little bit of assistance. And $1,500 a month, all you know can't help none, all you do nothing. If you have a family of 4 to feed, $1,500 could feed them for about 8 days, even if you don't buy nothing fancy. Just on pure chicken and rice. I ain't think you could buy vegetables. So this is Imbot playing games, playing smart with foolishness. And I ask you, Imbot, where the other 4.85 billion in relief? What are you going to say? It was VAT refunds to your friend and them? What are you all trying to tell us? Trinidad and Tobago says the same Dwayne. Leave the Dwayne there. Look at him. Look. Trinidad and Tobago's credit rating best in CARICOM. So first lie he said last week was now we ain't get downgraded. Stable and negative is the same thing. Forget what all you learn in English. Forget your understanding. Forget your thesaurus. Call me but say stable to negative mean the same thing. It don't mean no downgrade. That is what he tried to tell you last week. This week he come with something else now. Hear this one. Trinidad and Tobago's credit rating is the best in CARICOM. Trinidad and Tobago's BBB minus standard and Poor's credit rating is the highest credit rating in the CARICOM and is better than many Latin American countries, says Finance Minister Colm Imbot. Really, Colm? First of all, who cares? Because the only comparison that is of importance is comparing yourself with yourself. So we are Trinidad and Tobago, the sovereign republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the independent, different, disparate country of Trinidad and Tobago with our select specific economic factors, diversification, population, credit, resources, all of these things, taxation. We are Trinidad and Tobago. So the only real comparison is Trinidad and Tobago to Trinidad and Tobago. And under Kamala, you was only seeing A+, and under you, we gone from AAA to A minus, to BBB plus, to BBB minus, to BBB minus stable, to BBB minus negative. So we are not interested in other CARICOM countries and their credit rating. Do they have the oil and gas under their islands, their coral islands, like we are blessed to have? Have they been involved in the oil and gas industry since 1908? Did they have, in 2014, the highest per capita income in the world? No, Colm. So we're not interested to take advantage of other countries, and they're doing well. They have sun, sea, and sand. And yet Barbados is high up in the human index. And we have fallen. So we're not interested in your nonsense, Colm. But I must say, yes, look at this. This is the GDP, right? 2010 to 2014. Look at what Kamala did. Building up and increasing the GDP, creating jobs, creating foreign direct investment, creating an ability to improve life, moving up the human index, the quality of life, the standard of living. We had the highest per capita income there. And then after that, put it back up. Look at Rowley and Colm. Look what happened. 2015 into 2016, bam, bam, bam. And straight down to 2020. And in that grey one, 2021, that's not really going up here. That's just to say we don't know what is there, right? So don't get tired of that grey thing. That was just to tell you there's no information there yet. That is Colm. So Colm, rest your boy. But Colm, I'm coming to talk to you. Colm, I don't like you. You know that. You went the same primary school as me, UE primary school. Obviously before me. You're looking much older than me. Life has been hard on your face. That's all right. You went St. Mary's. Thank the Lord you didn't go Fatima. I couldn't take that one. We already have to deal with the nosebreaker who squeezed in somehow. But at least the nosebreaker knows he was a dunce. At least he's honest about his stupidity. But Colm, you don't like people. You've been in the PNM an inordinate amount of time. Somehow you've maintained it even though PNM people don't like you. You're obnoxious. You're selfish. You have some brain, but you use your brain to outsmart others. So not that you care, I really don't like your Colm, to tell you the truth. Having said that, Colm, for the first time, and I know you since 1987, Colm, in Poison Barn, on the PNM truck with Selwyn Ryan and his lovely wife, when I did the rehabilitation for her knee back in 1996 or so, when Big Truck was the road march, and you was telling me to get off the truck, and all them PNM, Ken Valley and so told you, Colm, you don't know who you're talking to, behave your stupid self. And I told you, if you had focused on being a better Minister of Works and Transport back in 1991 to 95, Pandey and them wouldn't have beat you. Remember that, Colm? I didn't like you then, I still don't like you, Colm. But Colm, press record. Right now at this moment, Colm, some actions that you have taken in the last 9.5 days, I get some respect for your Colm. I don't know your mens rea or your motivation. Maybe you're fed up of Rowley. Maybe you find he's too greedy. Maybe you find he's too obnoxious. Move the Dwayne. I really, at this point, this one point, I'm giving him respect. Call me, but for you to tell Rowley to go and scratch, he is trying to force you to pay bills to contractors that are not approved yet, Colm. Is that true, Colm? He tried to force you to make payments, Colm. Is that true? Tell the douglAR if what I am hearing is true, Colm, and that you are standing up for the people of Trinidad and Tobago and propriety and the money, and you will not waste money on contractors that have not done the job or inflated prices, Colm. I am saying to you, Colm, if my information is correct, that I may not like you, but on this 9 days that you are dealing with right here, I respect that. I appreciate that, and I applaud it. I don't know if you'd continue. I don't know if you have the cojones to continue to battle Rowley, to tell him to fire burn you, you're overdoing, you're arrogant, and you're trying to sink the country. Colm, this might be the first time in your life that you have fought for something other than yourself, Colm. If my information from inside the cabinet of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is correct, Colm, Anil say I'm proud of you. I still don't like you, Colm, but I'm proud of you, Colm. And maybe this could be you turning a new leaf, Colm. Who knows? You ain't too old to change, Colm. If the story coming out that you are standing up against Keith Christopher Rowley called. If that is true, if it ain't true, I could pull back all of that there because it has hurt my heart to have to say that, but I had to talk the truth. The douglAR don't play. If the truth is the truth, the truth is the truth, must be told the truth. You understand? So calm. Well done. Vishnu, are in shock? Are you looking back the man I open up? They can't believe I just said that. The whole place gone quiet. Archie, I'm to your choke. Prime Minister Rowley, my navel string buried in Tobago. Well, Rowley, if that's true, your navel string buried in Tobago, but you crashed the sea bridge from the time you come in and shatter Tobago economy, make Tobago lose over $11 billion of GDP over the last 6 years, suffer the people of Tobago, did not care about their transportation, did not increase flights, put them on barge to carry their goods, get an old Kobo Star that's still running, that taking 8-9 hours to reach Tobago. Hey, I thank you. I was looking, I hear this goat here missing. Yeah, well, you find it look like it look like a sheep, but it's a goat. We hear that recently he missing, and this one I start to know about goat, honey goat weed and them kind of thing after COVID-19, after his positive test, you know, above age 70 with comorbidities, you just have some floppy problems, erectile dysfunction and so on. But they say the horny goat weed does work. All of a sudden we can't find this goat. I went to Tobago looking for this goat in Yande. Me ain't find that one. Me ain't know if he in a bottle of horny goat weed. Me ain't know. But Rowley say he navel string buried in Tobago. But if your navel string wasn't buried, what you would have do the people of Tobago? Because you shatter the economy, you bring no investment, you suffer them, you put small pin on top of them, you wanted to give away the land to Sandals because you play golf for that man, you forget Randall Mitchell and you put small pin to negotiate, you forget that you tell me that Wendell Motley was in charge, you try to hand a man land and borrow money to build a hotel for a man who you play golf with, while disrespecting the THA, putting the chief secretary to sit down on the floor, while Smallpin and Rohan sit down on the head table, take away people land, coming to do things, not consulting with Tobagonian, ill-treating them. The THA election is 6-all. You pressing on as if you in charge and forget Tobago, bring a self-governance bill and tell them, and tell your ministers and them, tell them about one in the hand better than three in the bush and all kind of stupidness. You, Rowley, you who invited the whole of Trinidad to Tobago when Tobago had handled their affairs and their stories pristinely with the COVID-19. Tobago was in a bubble with no infection, no Brazilian variant, limited very 1 or 2 deaths. And then you, Rowley, who navel string buried in Tobago, you invited Trinidadians to come across to Tobago and spread disease and pestilence all over the island of Tobago, where the death rate has skyrocketed, the infection rate, and stressing out all the people in Tobago, and you boasting about your navel string buried in Tobago. Well, the children should dig it up and burn it. Them don't want no part of you, not your navel string, not your horny goat weed, nothing, not your floppy this. Tobago don't want to see you. You look at this. You invited this upon Tobago, the sufferation and pain that you brought on Tobago, and boasting about your navel string buried in Tobago. Imagine if you wasn't a Tobagonian, what you would have do them? Run it.
We were following the science and taking firm governmental decisions based on the advice of our health department. So today when you hear there isn't a single report of an infected person in Tobago, it is not by accident, it is by design of the staff and the government and the healthcare delivery in Tobago. Next week, the end of next week, we move into Easter. And of course, this is not an Easter. That the story is going to be the ferry. This is going to be an Easter where anybody who wants to go to Tobago can go and come back when you want. So you know what's happening now? Tobago is almost full and overflowing. The place to be is in Tobago.
Yes, the place to be is in Tobago. That's what you did to the people of Tobago. You brought all the disease and infection that we had here in Trinidad because you failed to protect our borders. Our borders were porous. And then you inviting that pain, devastation, death, and infection on the people of Tobago. And you throwing it in their face with your navel string. Why don't keep your nasty, smelly navel string to yourself? Nobody here wants it, and the people of Tobago certainly don't want it. Look at this Newsday, page 17, section A, Sunday, August 15th. Tobago COVID-19 deaths, now 54 in that little island. When you made that speech, the death count was about two. It's now 52 more. 54 deaths in Tobago. Rowley, 47% approval. Let me tell you something. When all you're doing this survey and thing, when all you go in Balize house and call only PNM numbers, you just get stupidness in. Let me tell you something. They talk about the Prime Minister's efforts are best received by those who are more concerned with the COVID-19 pandemic than any other issue. His approval rating within that group is 67%. Hold on. Let's just think logically. Because I ain't going to waste too much time with these stupid, ridiculous polls, right? Because they take 404 adults in Trinidad and Tobago, 404 adults. You could do a poll, they pay you money to do that. All your lazy, ridiculous. Look, 404 people out of 1.39 million, 1,010,000 adults, plus 150,000 illegal immigrants, and all you only take 404 people by phone call. How you get the number random selected? Poor people have phone, they can't even afford it to pay their cell bill. All of them done get cut. They can't buy a card. What about them? So poor people don't count in all your poll. But anyway, they say a plus or minus 4.9%. What kind of poll? Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2 is a serious poll. Plus or minus 4.9. And then they had results were reweighted to account for non-response bias detected by rotating positive and negative question phrasing. What abject, lazy nonsense. So you only called 404 people. How many of the people did not respond? How much was non-response? And from the non-response, them didn't go and get substitution to respond, you know. Them come to do and using big words that go confuse we. We don't know what is that. It is we use a reweighted to account for non-response bias detected by rotating positive and negative question phrasing. Don't mama guide me with stupidity and jargon, boy. All you're lazy and dotish. Now let's just talk sense. Forget the poll, right? This poll say that right now, August, 67% of Trinidad and Tobago are happy with Rowley's COVID-19 response. Okay, 67%. First of all, PNM supporters is only 33%. So that means that 34% of independent and UNC supporters feel that Rowley is doing well in COVID-19 response. So 67% of us feel that we have plenty vaccines going into September, even though we are 18% fully vaccinated. We all are good with that. So all you don't need the other 57% to reach 75%. All you need that 67%. That's what them trying to tell me. So 67% of the people say, yes, boy, everybody got salary relief grant. We got a lot of that 1,500 by 3, 4,500. Not only 33,000 people got. Nah. Everybody fine. The infection, and they're happy with 1,173 people dead at COVID-19. They're happy that the Brazilian, 67% all here, happy that the Brazilian variant came through porous borders because Rowley failed to create a security dome around Trinidad and Tobago with Coast Guard, Army, radar, boats, customs, excise, immigration, police, helicopter, all of that. Rowley failed to do that, but 67% of y'all happy that the Brazilian variant came in here and killed 1,000 people. Y'all are happy that once our citizens reach in the ICU, we dead. Y'all are happy that we locked down, shut down, and broke down 90 days, over 90 days, and still have 200, 300. Well, yesterday they say 89 cases. Like they're not even testing during the weekends again. So they're trying to depress testing to go back into the mamagism now. So you are saying that 67% of the people are happy that we at home and seeing cases spike last week from 109, 120 up to 321. We are happy with that. That we are happy with the Delta variant. That we are happy with everything that's going on with COVID-19. That we are happy with living with the wife and girlfriend and children and so on and then putting mask in car. We are happy that man could have shootout also and then others could get charged $10,000. We are happy that the economy is shattered and no jobs. We are happy with the COVID-19 response. All you're really serious? 67%. Gary Griffith only got 71% approval rating. Gary, super double G. So Rowley COVID response is Gary. Good poll express. Anyway, my dogs had a little diarrhea. I will use that express poll to pick it up when I reach home. Now, this is the man that y'all are saying COVID-19 response, 67%. This man who comes in a press conference and shouts down, buff down, lies, obfuscates, change story, and now telling we about honey goat weed. But on douglAR politics, if you all follow douglAR politics, you would know that I tell all you, the man would have had to have something on his mind because COVID-19, they present a very bad negative effect for men old and ugly like he, and with comorbidities like he. It go have problem for the village ram. The douglAR told all you, watch honey goat weed video. Run it.
So at daybreak, as soon as I woke, I made contact with the doctors here in Tobago, and I told them what I experienced during the night, and I need to be tested, as they agreed. And lo and behold, I was positive.
And a local expert is urging men to do more to protect themselves from COVID-19 amidst fears of long-term erectile dysfunction in COVID-19 survivors.
Talk a little bit about when you get over COVID, how you get over. Because some people get over the initial clinical expressions, but they carry with them significant scars. Who in this audience will tell me what is the side effect of using honey goat weed? Who certified that? What is the efficacy of that? In some aspects, what is the active ingredient in that? And of course, what are the side effects of using it? They don't like the chip that they're putting in you so they could monitor you whether you're gone by somebody's wife or something like that.
Oh Lord God, stop making so much noise, God. You're coming in the douglAR politics. The thunder turned to drizzle now, boy. Oh God, all night, all night. You giving me? If I only hold you tonight is thunder. Rowley, after that COVID-19, boy, after you hold them in the night is drizzle, boy. Not even thunder, boy. Rowley, you're truly a blank man now, eh? Kamala could call you a blank man now, boy, Rowley. That goat weed, that thing on your mind, boy. You in a press conference to talk to we about efficacy of vaccine, Pfizer, Sinopharm, getting the herd immunity, shutdown, lockdown, state of emergency, economy, building up, packages, salary grant, SMEs, diversification, Tobago, tourism, BAM, foreign direct investment. All you could tell me about is honey goat weed, boy. Honey goat weed. Rowley, hard luck, boy. Once it gone there at your age, not even a balloon pump could help you now. It's good. Vaccination across Trinidad and Tobago. Let me tell you something. They have a video of Kamala Prasad says, I want all you to play for me because, you see, Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Christopher Rowley, I am seeing a pattern of clear discrimination across the board. Now, is this discrimination because of race, ethnicity, and religion? Is it? Or is it because of political affiliation? And those people in those constituencies don't support Keith Rowley. It doesn't matter because the end result is discrimination. So when we're talking about Pfizer vaccines, when we're talking about distribution for children, and Rudal Munilal, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, Barry Padarat, and all the MPs, the MP for Maruga Tableland, Michelle Benjamin, have to complain that children have to drive for hours with their parents or travel, and parents have no money to go to try and get life-saving vaccine because of the sick planning of the PNM that does not treat every creed and race equally, that does not treat every constituency equally, that does not treat our children equally. Imagine that, children and vaccine, the PNM showing political discrimination which manifests itself in racial discrimination against children. With life-saving vaccine, even that is not above politics for Keith Goatweed Rowley. Well, the world is laughing at us now. If they weren't laughing before, they're not only laughing, they're feeling sorry for us. They cannot believe that in a country as beautiful as Trinidad and Tobago, with such resources and flora and fauna, beaches, sea, fish life, reefs, some of the greatest reefs in the world. The prince from Emirates came down just to go diving in Tobago, flew his entire jumbo jet here to just go to dive, scuba dive, and see a species of fish that we have by Goat Island in Tobago. Tobago is pristine, Trinidad pristine, but we have incompetence in the cabinet, the government, and all the boards across managing our resources. That Gary Aboud had to go out with fishermen who's supposed to be using that gas to go and fish. They don't even have regular gas anymore. To come and make us aware that there's an oil spill that is flooding our Gulf of Paria, our food basket in the ocean. And we see, while Gary Aboud is out there, a heritage vessel that has been instructed to go out there knowing that there's an oil spill, to cut it up, to hide it so that people wouldn't find out. Well, the world has seen those videos and the world is crying shame on us because all over the globe, children are talking climate change. Children are talking save the environment, recycling, you stop using paper, paperless society, save the trees, plant trees. Children across the globe are environmentally conscious, and we in Trinidad and Tobago have a Neanderthal PNM government that has an oil spill and then decide to send people to try and hide it. The world is crying shame Then in our rivers when it flood now, anytime it rain is flood. Lagoon, Ethelbert, Lagoon move up in the north too. Lagoon all in Lavanti. I thought all the people only below the Caroni, south of the Caroni, build a house in Lagoon, Ethelbert. How the Lagoon move? But look at this, oil in the rivers during flood, run it.
When it rains, it pours. So what is happening here now? It is oil that going down to the Carapal River that's going straight to the sea. This oil going straight to the sea, ladies and gentlemen. I really know what's going on. I really know what's going on. All that black that you see going there, it is oil that is going down the river. That oil going straight down to the sea. Straight down to the sea, that oil going. What's coming down the river here? What's coming down the river here? That is oil that is heading straight down to the sea. Right, ladies and gentlemen? And this is what we are now faced with. So which means there has to be an oil spill somewhere.
There had to be an oil spill. And here Rowley friend, Rowley lawyer, hey, come in, all you appeal the fake oil thing yet? All you listen to senior counsel Deborah Peak yet? Hey, come in, or you're still trying to get advice from junior counsel or the lawyers of the Heritage Petroleum Company? Yeah, appeal yet? Hey, come in, Rowley, personal attorney in Trinidad and Tobago. That's what we have. Canada, a prime minister who's sitting, call an election because he find the citizens should have a say. But we have a man who put his own personal attorney in charge of a company in which his best friend under investigation for something under audit. And all you're happy with that, and talking about 47% of the population happy with Rowley and 67% happy with the COVID-19 response. If that is true, well, we in a mad place. The whole of Trinidad and Tobago should just go up in St. Anne's and look for blue tablet if that poll is true, that we really find that is right. But here, Rowley's attorney and personal friend, A.A. Kwamina, Heritage Petroleum Company Limited on Sunday said it was investigating reports of leaked oil and had notified a lease operator from whose oil pit the oil had come. So Heritage says lease operator responsible for oil spill affecting Palo Seco and Erin. Who lease? Who in charge of the lease? Who gave the operator the lease? Not Heritage. Didn't the oil and gas belong to the government of Trinidad and Tobago? The buck stops with Heritage management. And you in charge of managing the lease operators, don't you have clauses in the contract that ensure that they maintain their equipment and provide the cleanup necessary if in case of spill? Don't you have that in your contract? We don't want to hear you blaming somebody else. You, the PNM Heritage AA Kwamina, you in charge. You tell me about some lease operator who give them the flipping lease. And what about the oil out in the sea? Who in charge of that? Who's that? Paria? Who is that? You, Newman George? You, Rowley, Newman George, and his wife, Lyman? That's what happened. Why all you don't lime and go and clean up the oil that all you're in charge of spilling out there, killing people, fisheries? Is the fish in the Gulf safe to eat? That is the question people are asking. And this is very serious. And to the Institute of Marine Affairs, what say y'all? Yeah. Not interested? All we hear is that you're all going to investigate. What's the investigation? When we get in the report in 2031, what have you said? What have you done? What have you sent out? Do you care, Institute of Marine Affairs, or die full of PNM too? So PNM spill oil, PNM cut it up, PNM investigated, and PNM says a lease operator. Great is this. This is PNM country. Shipwrecks litter the Gulf. Look at the Gulf. All over the Gulf. Shipwrecks, and these shipwrecks also have chemicals and oil and all kind of thing, and they are just parked up there like a graveyard and sinking. In fact, people they park their boats there because we don't have to pay. They have to pay something like 50 TT a day and things just to park up there because the laws have not been changed since 1904. Oh Lord. Pimp Daddy boy. Hey, Pimp Daddy. Remember I tell all you, I put this here because I wanted to get more of this story last show. I tell you, normally I just fling down thing, but when I read this story about Pimp Daddy, I tell you this story like I need information, but like information coming out. Pimp Daddy gets sent on leave pending investigation, but like the story have more people in it. It have all kind of thing. Me and him talking that because it have all kind of accusation. But let me also ask, in between the story, Coast Guard, why you had to call the police riverine unit to come to help you to intercept a pleasure craft with 14 people in it? You couldn't call the two cutlass that all you have where the cutlass and them was. Rowley and small pin cutlass. The Puya shop, where the Puya diesel, it they walking, and all of this bacchanal going on. Franco meant just on the coast, 30 meters off the coastline. So we border safe with the two cutlass. Where is Ethelbert? Ethelbert, where are you? Anyway, we're waiting to see this story. Good. And now see why Pimp Daddy have one of them clothes. The story hot. Vishnu, on this story, the Attorney General, Faris Al-Rawi, you know, sometimes I just try to keep you out of this show because I fed up of you, your tight pants, your tight shirt, dribbling on man in a room, no mask, making laws that make no sense. You make a law that the Justice Budu Singh had to say, you're drafting law that makes no sense. It's incompetent drafting of the demerit system for drivers and so on, giving the judges a pain and a migraine headache because of your stupidity. But listen to Al-Rawi on this thing. Sunday Newsday also sought clarity on the issue from Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi. The Attorney General said, even though there may be more than 5 in a vehicle or any mode of transport, as long as they are not without mask, then there is no offense committed. Really? I'm sure the taxi and maxi drivers who lost tens of thousands of dollars over the last 18 months when they were instructed that they were to operate at 50% capacity and whatever capacity, and they could not work at 100% capacity. I'm sure they're interested in knowing that Faris Al-Rawi said, it don't matter. Once you're in a vehicle, it don't matter about 5. You could be any amount once you have on a mask. So all of them, big maxi, small maxi, transport company, all of them must be very interested to know that all of the fishermen who leave fishermen home and put their life at risk to fish all night long and so on, and only 4 or 5 of them on the boat when they normally take 10 or 11 to go and do some alabi fishing and so on. I am sure that they are happy to know that the regulations say, well, any number could go on a vessel once you have the mask on. Well, look what Al-Rawi say. Al-Rawi say, even though there may be more than 5 in a vehicle or any mode of transport, as long as they are not without mask, then there is no offense committed. Well, Al-Rawi, why you didn't tell me that? But wait, Treasure Queen, Harbor Master, all you could have party all the time. Because if you have a mode of transport, once all you have on mask, DJ have on mask, Mike Man have on mask, all the girl in the bikini with the mask, all the man them with the pants and the slippers and the GQ with the cooler open, have the mask. Once you have on mask, Al-Rawi say it could be fet on. Al-Rawi, you sure? You sure you're making sense, boy? You sure, boy? There is a reason you spent an inordinate amount of time in law school, you know. There really has to be. There is a reason that you lost 31 cases straight. There is a reason why judges cannot read the drafting of laws that you bring and they laugh at you. There must be a reason that people in the legal profession look at you and laugh as you flex to show them your chest. So Al-Rawi, well done. Well, let me go. And you know how long I want to go on the Harbor Master and get onto some soca, put on my mask, and let me go, boy. It don't matter. 5 regulations. The Attorney General said, go ahead. That's why he was in that wedding. Anyway, next topic. while he's talking that, Eastern cops arrest 14 for Beach River Lime on Sunday. Police from the Eastern Division are reminding the public that beaches and rivers are still closed to the public after 14 people were arrested at a beach and River Lime on Sunday. 14 people, but they all had on masks, but they arrested. Another set of people, they get fined $10,000 from the other party in Real Spring, in Valsayn somewhere there. And them went in court already and get fined. So them guilty charge and get punishment already, $10,000. But Al-Rawi say, a Zessin party on a vessel with 14 or more, once them had on mask, is okay? Al-Rawi, really? And how you getting involved? Why you even talking about an ongoing investigation? Why is your mouth in that? And why are you trying to obfuscate and talk nonsense? Why? Why? I mean, the man don't even wear tight shirt. He does wear his shirt like a pimp daddy. You wear it like you some kind of sweet boy. What's this? August 16, 2021 media release. 3 fined $10,000 each for gathering at Valsayn party. Or 43, not 43 persons who were charged with gathering in a group exceeding 5 persons pleaded guilty today to the charge. Each of them was fined $10,000 with 5 months and allowed to pay on something month simple imprisonment. Ooh, Al-Rawi, but they had on mask. Yeah, go back across now, forget me. Yes, the 43, okay, they're overdoing now, right? 5 months, go back down a bit, 5 months allowed, back down actually, to pay, or 1 month simple imprisonment. How imprisonment could be simple? There are nothing simple about imprisonment. The 43 were part of a group of 50 persons who appeared virtually before magistrate, right, today after they were arrested and charged yesterday. So them get arrested and charged on Sunday and appear in Zoom court on the next day. But we hearing all kind of thing in story. I had a whole paper here, and man and mask with 14 people on a vessel, and the Attorney General said, but if you have on mask, it's okay, that is more than 5. I am confused. All you, next week, douglAR Politics, Harbour Master. Oh Lord, we go in and get on. Everybody wear your mask. Put your hand up. Wear your mask. Put your hand up. Sinopharm on the left. Hey, Pfizer. Oh, nobody have Pfizer. Hey, Pep. AstraZeneca. Where are you? Do it. Yes, let me go have a master, Al-Rawi. Say once you have on your mask. Well said, Al-Rawi. You're brilliant. From one brilliant PNM to another. I was listening to the UNC Monday night virtual meeting last night, and I was listening to the member for Couva South, the Honorable Rudranath Indar Singh, and he said something that was very interesting. Archie, run Rudy there for me.
We see the political nepotism, the corruption, the high-handedness, where a non-office holder of the PNM today is instructing the manager of the URP in one Sharada Satram. This person seems to be highly favored by officials within the PNM. Is it that she has certain attributes? What is her expertise? What is her skills? Today we are being told, and I have a letter in my hand dated the 25th of July 2021, addressed to one Indar Parasram, the program manager of the Unemployment Relief Program, where she has rescinded all attempts of employment for poor and legitimate persons. And it reads where she said, as of the 26th of July 2021, with immediate effect, I, Sharada Satram, shall be signing all notes or listing presented to the regional office for employment in the URP. This is the same person, I don't know, who was granted packages for agricultural packages for distribution to the poor and the needy in the midst of the pandemic by NAMDEVCO. And this is why I am saying once again, we see political abuse, nepotism, and why is this person being granted political standing whilst holding no office. And for me, it reeks of nepotism and political abuse, my brothers and sisters.
Shada Satram, I hear that name somewhere before. But let me see, Rudy Indarsing is talking about a letter on a People's National Movement letterhead written to the program manager of a government program, spending taxpayers' dollars and instructing a government employee to only take instructions from a non-government appointed. Put it big, let me read this thing here. Yes, Couva North constituency of the People's National Movement. The coordinator, whatever position, coordinator of that Couva North constituency, Ms. Shada Satram, July 25th, 2021, to Mr. Inda Parasha. Oh, I'm going to talk about he's a non-entity, you know. But all that skull you're doing, brother, I coming to you just now, is just I have to deal with Rowley and Smallpin and Al-Rawi and Imbot and them first. I put it up bigger, Archie, man. I, Shada Satram, coordinator of the Couva North constituency, hereby rescind all and any authorization letters given to hold on. Shada Satram, who the hell you feel you is? You hereby rescind? You cannot rescind nothing. What government you working for? Which taxpayer check you getting? What is your work? Where you feel you is? I, Shada Satram, coordinator of the Couva North constituency, that is not in that Parasham, however, is not a member of a PNM party group. This is not a PNM raffle ticket selling. This is not a PNM barbecue. This is not a PNM corn soup queue. This is not a PNM bus party during Carnival, you know. This is government taxpayers' money with a taxpayer government program. Who the hell Shada Satram feels she? Look, let me read this. I ain't shocked, you know. I, Shada Satram, coordinator of the Couva North constituency, hereby rescind all and any authorization letter or letters given to Mrs. Carol Cathy Joseph and Mr. Winston Leger with immediate effect. As of 26th of July 2021, with immediate effect, I, Ms. Shada Satram, shall be signing all notes or listing presented to the Regional Office for Employment in URP. Excuse me? Move that for a second. It could bring it back, but move it. Police. Let me make up a report, yes? Police. Wait. Yes, police. douglAR Politics say they're watching this thing live. They have a citizen with no standing whatsoever who is instructing a government employee on what to do and what not to do with government resources, about who to hire and who not to hire. And she is saying that she is in control of this. As of 26 July 2021, with immediate effect, I, Ms. Shada Satram, shall be signing all notes or listing presented to the Regional Office for Employment in URP. Officer Ms. Shada Satram is not a member of parliament. She's not duly elected. She is no government position. She's not in control of the URP. She's not a member or has no local standard whatsoever in the URP program. The URP program is a government-based program. How is this citizen to be stating that she will determine who is to be employed at a government program? I would like this investigated. I am not sure. You all will check and see if it's misbehavior in public office. If what this is this going on? I do not understand it. There is no... Listen. I'm not making no joke, you know. Shada Satram, something had to be wrong with you. You just escape. You just run out. You rush out. You ain't take your blue tablet. Let me read that again. I ain't shocked. And things those shock the douglAR with PNM. I have seen all kind of thing that PNM do. Put it back up a bit there. I am in, as of 26th of July, what is up to so much of, you didn't study English, July, with immediate effect, I, Ms. Shada Satram, shall be signing all notes or listing presented to the regional office for employment in URP. Who is you? On what basis? And who are you to employ or not employ citizens of Trinidad and Tobago in a government program to be paid by taxpayer dollars? This has become necessary as I am in the process of reorganizing the constituency by party groups to ensure that we become a full constituency consisting of 15 or more active party groups, and I have received many complaints from constituents. Excuse me. You could do what the hell you want in your PNM party group, in your PNM constituency. You could dance, you could play Sizzla Kolanji. Nobody cares. You cannot write to a government agency instructing them on you who have no local standard whatsoever to write anything or inform anything about taxpayers' dollars and citizens being employed in a program of the government. Who you feel you are? This is not PNM party group. This is not PNM Balize. This is taxpayer resources. And you, Mr. Indar Parsham, if you accepted this letter and you did not report it to the police will come and check you, because you are not to receive letters from random citizens instructing you who to employ and who not to employ, and to only take their recommendation to employ. The URP program has a mission, vision statement, cabinet note, and is governed by the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. So whoever this Indar Parsham is, if you didn't report this woman to the police go check you. Who is this Shada Satcha boy, Archie boy? I hear this name from somewhere before. I hear this name. Help me now, Archie. Help me find out who is this Shada Satram.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharda Satram and I am the People's National Movement prospective candidate for the Cuba North constituency.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome contractor Sharda Satram.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharda Satram. I am a young contractor. My company was performing successfully until 2016, not long before the Rowley administration came into government, and immediately my business started to decline. Did you know that this government awarded a contract to a Chinese contractor to construct 6,000 HDC houses? Tonight, I want to ask the Prime Minister, why do we have to go to China to find people to build houses? Are you telling me that local contractors aren't capable of building houses? Why does government still owe monies to contractors? 4 years you have been asleep. You can't love the PNM more than you love your own country. Imagine, I was born here, I invested here, and along with other small contractors, had to sell our equipment and machinery to make ends meet while our Prime Minister is building China. They spent monies on building roads, and even that was given to specialist contractors. So Prime Minister, are you telling me that we the locals can't build anything? We can't build interchanges, we can't build roads, and now we can't build houses? These Chinese companies do not hire a single local, but are being paid using hard-working taxpayers' money.
I would just like to commend the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa for not selecting that. Now all you understand how Kamala Prasad Bisesa is very perceptive. The lady foresaw trouble, rejected this, and then she just went by the PNM. She was injected by the she was rejected by the UNC and injected in the PNM. How she just jump in the PNM and take off? Who is that there? I wonder if she have a foster father or foster parent who is giving her this kind of power. I wonder who is monitoring her comings and goings. You know that this lady here, on top of that, when we had to get food for citizens during COVID-19, that the PNM, Clarence Rambarat, and Namdevco give this non-entity give her hampers to distribute to poor people while the MP's offices were being denied and cut. Clarence Rambarat, how is this lady who injected her into the society? How is she? What? You involve Clarence? Are you and this man fostering relations that go deeper than we can understand? Furthermore, this woman just come out just so, and next thing you know, she on a white-tape board. You all have that? I mean, she's on the white-tape board too. This woman who's just jumping to the PNM, she just reached on a white-tape board too. She built some office up in Laoketa Talparo. She getting hampers to distribute. She writing a letter to instruct people about employment. All you put up the white tape board picture, I'm telling you back there, and she on the white tape board also. Who is the minister in charge of youth? I want to foster some young people involved, get them creative and foster a spirit of growth and intellect. Who's the minister of youth? Foster. By the way, Foster, what happened with them thing? Anything happen? Any Babylon books pass by you? They didn't pass by you? What did I just hear the story just dropped? It just gone cold. You're not quoting any passages from the Bible anymore, Foster. So this woman getting hampers. She getting contract. All kind of contract. Go on to Facebook. This woman just boasting. This woman who now get injected in the PNM. Come and like take over all the PNM. She go take over the women's league in the PNM. What happened in the women's league? All they don't have injection. What is going on? This woman come through and now instructing a government program on who to hire and who not to hire, that only she will give. Look, she there. Who put her on the board? Look, PNM even congratulate. She look different, boy. Like she eating so much food. Oh God, that one was during the election. You mean in a year all of that take place? Is all that food she eat in the PNM? And she was just a UNC reject, and now she injected by the PNM. Who inject she so? How she get injected into a position to be so uplifted? She's now on the board of YTEP. Who's the line minister, Foster, for YTEP? Foster use a single man. I don't know Foster now. Vishnu, Foster single and we don't know his business. I don't know his business either. But let me tell you something. Foster, if there's anything I know about your PNM cabinet, be careful there, boy. Because the big man upstairs, I mean, he's not performing at his best right now. He hoping the honey go to it take effect. But you know the village ram just come, ask Grabby Wabby. Grabby Wabby come to do his work, bring his lovely wife. She went down to help that man down in Carnage Day to work with a campaign. And Grabby Wabby, well, the goatweed wasn't needed then at that time because it was pre-COVID positive. But ask Randall Mitchell too, like in the PNM, all you be careful, you know, what all you have, you know. Because higher minister that take a thing, Randall Mitchell had a thing, Brian Manning, come down in the Southland, take he girl, married it, and now he looking to take he dog too, he take his portfolio, he take his seat, he take his girl, and now he looking for the man dog. All your PNM, I don't trust none, all there's a Foster. I don't use not a sugar Foster daddy, you know. Oh God, who's that? Where did this find? No wonder, Brian, man, take your girl, man. That you? Oh God. Anyway, moving right along. But police, very serious, eh? Movie and movie. That letter, please call Member of Parliament Rujanat Indasing for the actual copy of that letter. Rudy Indasing, please make a report to the police, and whoever is the director of the program in that parsam, whatever your name is, Mr. PNM, if you didn't report this human being to the police Because no citizen without local standby, who's not on the government payroll, without portfolio, could be instructing any program manager who to hire and who not to hire. This is not no PNM party group, eh? This taxpayer government business. This is not no joke. While first time I be kicking off with you. Well, you got to deal with your stories home. That's your business. But serious thing. Shada Satra, Kamala. Oh Lord, thank you, boss. Thank you. You save we from that. Imagine if that, oh Lord, if that was in the yellow. Now, I have a little problem. I kept asking y'all. I asked y'all if Avery Hines gets scholarship from Joe Newell Fund back in 2003, 2004, 2005. The same fund that Laurel Lezama leasing get now. The 500,000 that she get, and then she didn't even pass no exam. Waste the money, flush it down the toilet. Remember that secret scholarship fund that only PNM could have access? I asked all if Dr. Avery Hines got anything from that, because he just keeps making a fool of himself and talking unprofessional things and changing the science. Science is a very pure thing. Science applies here in Trinidad and Tobago as it applies in Barbados, Guyana, Canada, USA, and Germany. But then I keep asking you too, Roshan Parasram, last year when he come out, some of all your girl and things say, oh God, he's a sweet boy, pretty one. But I ain't vexed for that. If all you find the man sweet, he's sweet. But then he kept on coming out and talking nonsense, towing the PNM line. Your job, Roshan Parasram, was just to be professional. Just come and tell us the science that you studied, how you did it, what to do, tell us what to do, what are the laws, what are the spikes, where are we going, how are we going. Your job was not to make Rowley not seem dotish, not to correct Rowley's mistakes, not to play games with Rowley and Convent Girl. Your job was just to protect the citizens and give us the science. And now I kept asking, but why, boy, Roshan Parasram? Why would you disrespect yourself like that in the eyes of the population? What would make you do that? Well, boy, And then I read an article in the newspaper that Roshan Parasram has now been given an honorary doctorate by UE for his work in development of Caribbean CARICOM affairs and international developments. Me, I know what Caribbean country. He in charge of Franco CMO right here, Rowley PNM COVID-19 response that has failed and has overseen the deaths of 1,173 citizens, and we have cases up the wazoo, upwards of 38,000, while we were so-called pristine. People are dying, people going ICU, highest mortality rate, Brazilian variant, no contact tracing. He has overseen this fiasco in Trinidad and Tobago. Me, I see he in Afghanistan. Me, I see he doing something up in Singapore or in Korea or in Germany, England or USA or Canada. Me, I know he walk out there. But we come to give he an honorary doctorate. Well, I could tell you, the PNMization of UE is complete. Because that is the only reason you cannot tell me. And I must say sorry to some of the other recipients. Even though Kusal, you know, Rowley is your friend and things, so don't get tired up and feel no big way, right? Let me tell you something. Imagine right after I saw that, and I shook my head, and I felt shame for this Parasram fellow. That's what they give you, an honorary doctorate. You really feel proud of that? You really think you earned that? You really think you worked hard and did your job and upheld your tenets of professionalism, impartiality, and did what's best for the country while you played games with flipping Rowley? You really could close your eyes, take your honorary doctorate, sit down on the toilet, and when you run out of paper, toilet paper, use that. You understand? And the next one next to you have the Heliconia Foundation or the Balize Gazette and wipe your bumsy. All right? Roshan Parasram. And that's when I just said, boy, UE, the UEization of the PNMization of UE has been complete. You know, I turn the paper. Flip, flip. 2 pages past that story. And hear this story. Gaynor Dickford appointed acting deputy principal of UE. Former People's National Movement Government Minister Dr. Emily Gaynor Dickford has been appointed acting deputy principal of the University of the West Indies Open Canvas. PNM, all you take over everything. All you do is move scholarship to bursary, give this clung an honorary doctorate. Boy, take the balize and stick it in your nose hole. Stick it where the sun don't shine, boy. Because you see, you really have no shame. If you had earned that, if you had worked for it, if you had kept us safe, I would have been the first one to clap you. But you have no shame. Take that and put it where the sun don't shine. Let me tell you something. It's rather sad. And if you all are fed up hearing our Prime Minister talking about go tweet and do jackass the scene and come down here and talking about all kind of stupidness instead of sensible things, job creation, moving forward, grants, SME, appreciation, vaccination, moving forward, school, economy, foreign exchange, foreign direct investment. Listen to this lady, a real Prime Minister. Forget all the nonsense, the lies, the mass media push down your throat and make you feel what the PNM say about Kamala. Kamala's record is there on school, education, children, hospital, sport, culture, roads, electricity, water, foreign direct investment, job creation, across the board. Kamala Prasad Bisesa perform. You talking about Rowley? You saw Rowley versus Trudeau. Now see Rowley versus Kamala. Run it.
Song check is good. Okay, thank you very much. Good evening. Welcome once again to our virtual report. And I thank you for joining us. I thank you for sharing your time with us. Today I want to speak about several issues of national importance. We will speak about vaccines. We'll speak about the rules and regulations during this pandemic. We'll speak about plans to revitalize the economy. We'll speak about some other matters, as I say, of national importance. Now, throughout this pandemic, there's been one thing that has been certain. Everything else has been very, very uncertain. And that one uncertainty has been the Keith Rowley himself, Mr. Rowley, and his government. We see this clown show that goes on every week, calling it a media briefing on the pandemic when in fact it's a masquerading. And what they do is they spend that time buffing everyone and everything. Who they did not buff is maybe because they just forgot. So they buff everybody and blame everyone for their incompetence and for their negligence. And second, if you have noticed that every time they hold these press briefings, there is some major distraction. So once as we're doing something to do this to the thing, this latest time talking about some kind of weed, and everybody goes, oh, and the supporters say, yeah. And then we forget, what are the real issues facing our country? What are the hardships that our people are going through? What is it that people are suffering most from? So you take away from the reality of today's situation under this Rowley government, and you distract from some of the major issues showing their incompetence in performance. So we forget about the friends, the family, and the financiers. They want us to forget about Faris Al recusal and Faris Al rental. They want us to forget Stuart Young, also Mr. Al recusal, friends, family, financiers. They want us to forget that over 120,000 people have lost jobs. They want us to forget the massive flooding and landslides throughout the country. They want us to forget that 6,000 businesses, and these are the SSMEs, the small, medium enterprises, small enterprises, medium enterprise, small businesses, and the medium businesses, over 6,000 of them have closed, which represents about 1/3 of the registered SSMEs. I mean, that is a tragic situation because the most vulnerable, the small people, are the ones most affected. They want us to forget about the deteriorated infrastructure. There's hardly a road that is passable now. They're all now potholes. You navigate along these potholes. Want us to forget about poverty. Want us to forget about the abandonment of the education sector and of the children of this country in that sector. They want us to forget about rising food prices. Look, take a look at this video. and you'll see what I'm speaking of. I know you're experiencing it in your pocket. You experience it each time you go to the supermarket, you go to the normal markets, you go to the groceries. You are seeing the rising cost of living, the rising cost of food prices. Take a this video, please. Ms. Archie, will you run the video?
Cost to ship goods into the country has also increased. President of the Food Distributors Association, Michael Schultz, said he is not expecting prices to decrease even after the pandemic.
Rice, oil, sugar, flour, peas and carrots, dal, cereal, sardine, corned beef, milk, and some macaroni. So I just bought the grocery items. So let me just say that in February of this year, this would have cost you around $224.20. But today, I paid $259.20. That's a $35 increase, 15.6%. And actually, you've been paying more since October last year. Be it on rice, sugar, flour, corn. Just look at the increase in oil. Even the price of plastic packaging went up.
Soybean oil has increased by 133% during the period September 2020 and June 2021. This rapid rise in prices is somewhat of a worry to supermarkets, farmers, consumers, and other stakeholders.
If that's what you're asking.
Going to go down if that's what you're asking.
So every home is experiencing these rising food prices, and in a bit I've already spoken, and in a bit I may also do so again about our plans. We did have plans for helping with the food security of our country with respect to the agricultural sector. But before I go there, they also want us to forget something that is most important to taxpayers and citizens of this country. You will recall that some time ago I raised the issue of AV drilling, a person whom the Prime Minister admitted and confessed is his best friend, being involved in certain activities with Petrotrin for the delivery of oil. At that time, some had dubbed it the fake oil matter. Since then, Petrotrin took a decision to terminate their contract, the AV drilling contract, and thereafter matters went to court. Now, when the matter went to court, they sought to get an injunction or sought to overturn the termination of the contract, and the courts held here, our local court said, no. This matter should be adjudicated upon and decisions come to. Thereafter, arbitration proceedings commenced, and we all know now the rest is history, that the arbitration went a certain way. However, lawyers paid by the company, Petrotrin, and the successor to Petrotrin, those lawyers recommended very strongly that the findings of the arbitration panel should be set aside by application to the court, the Supreme Court of Trinidad and Tobago. That has been months ago, and then the lawyers had said, look, you have to do this quickly. Today I want to call on the Petrotrin Company directors, the chairman, who is also the personal lawyer, Mr. Kwame, he's a personal lawyer of the Prime Minister. So you have here involved the personal friend of the Prime Minister in the person of AV Drilling, and you have the personal friend of the Prime Minister, who is the chairman of the Petroleum Company. I want to call on Mr. Renal Ajoda Singh, who is the deputy chairman. I want to call on Mr. Joel Hardin, Mr. Selvin Lashley, Mr. Eustace Nances. These are the members of the board of the Petroleum Company, who the government tells us, the Prime Minister tells us, look, I have nothing to do with that. That board has to make a decision whether to apply to the Supreme Court to set aside the arbitration judgment. This in spite of the fact that these lawyers were paid by that company on their own behalf as follows. Deborah Peake, Senior Counsel. $1.9 million. Mr. Ravi F.S. Doon, $1.6 million. Ms. Tamara Tulsi, $450,000. And Ms. Marcel Ferdinand, $1.4 million. So millions of taxpayers' dollars were spent by the Petrotrin Board to represent the state and the taxpayers in the arbitration matter. Nevertheless, even though Senior Counsel Deborah Peake, the lead attorney in this matter, has vociferously advocated, very strongly advocated, that the government should set aside this arbitration award, which stands to benefit, if the stories are true, that AV Drilling is claiming over $100 million and more. So what do we do? Why is it that the government is dragging its feet? As I said, they want us to forget it, and then after time has passed, they will do like what they did with the Malcolm Jones matter. The Petrotrin Board then went and withdrew the case that was in the court against Malcolm Jones. Is it that they want us to forget? Time passes, and then the best friend of the Prime Minister will benefit to the tune of millions of taxpayers' dollars because of the failure, incompetence, and negligence, if not outright deliberate action or inaction, to apply to the courts to set aside the arbitration judgment. I repeat again, I call upon the board of Petrotrin. The Prime Minister, like Pontius Pilate, has washed his hands of the matter and says this is not for him, it is not for the government, it is not for the cabinet, it's for the board. And therefore this board has a fiduciary duty to the citizens and taxpayers of our country to do what is right. If it is, they believe that they will not want to appeal and set aside the judgment in the courts, come out and tell the country so, and give your reasons why. You cannot hide behind a fig leaf Prime Minister to say it is not you, it is not your cabinet, it's the board. At the end of the day, that board is appointed by the cabinet, and you as head of cabinet, they are your appointees. And you, together with them, owe a fiduciary duty to the taxpayers of our country to ensure that we do not have to spend money that we do not have to spend, that is not warranted to give away for expenditure to pay for the arbitration award. So I call upon you all to tell the country now, come fair, come disclose, transparent and accountable, and let us know what is the situation with the AV Drilling Arbitration Award. And now I ask you, my friends, those of you who are viewing and listening, and for those who especially those who are viewing, to look at this video. Whilst we are seeing all these things happening, all these distractions, we are also being distracted from the fact that we are now in a collapsed economy. Over 120,000 persons have lost their jobs under this government. Over 6,000 small businesses have closed. And not to mention all the side effects of that. Petrotrin was closed, all of this, a collapsed economy. I want you to take a look at this video, please.
PNM has brought our economy to its knees. Despite spending a record $265 billion over the past 5 years, the Keith Rowley administration has nothing to show for it. This administration has presided over the worst economic crisis in our nation's history. Young people no longer have opportunities for sustainable careers. People no longer feel confident to invest in businesses or themselves. Keith Rowley's inept gas negotiations have destroyed the Point Lisa's industrial estate. Our once proud energy sector is now a shell of its former self. After making a promise not to shut down Petrotrin,
the government is not closing down Petrotrin.
we saw massive retrenchment as the government destroyed the refinery. Our entrepreneurs have been crushed under the boot of oppressive taxation.
And I came back again just a few weeks ago and raised it by another 15%. They haven't rioted yet. So I might raise it by another 15%.
Small businesses struggling for forex have been hung out to dry while friends of the government prosper. The scandalous collapse of the Sea Bridge has obliterated Tobago's tourism industry. International rating agencies have downgraded our investment profile to junk status. All across the country, businesses are closing down. Now, due to the COVID-19 public health crisis, things have gotten worse.
There's a 10 to 15% permanent closure of the smaller retailers.
Unemployment and underemployment are sharply rising. While Keith Rowley is busy attacking the media, families across TNT are busy trying to survive. This government has put PR over people.
And they want to know why we have not diversified the economy. And since we come into office, we didn't diversify the economy. And we were in the opposition, and we should have known that we were coming into government, and we should have had a plan, and therefore we come into government without a plan.
Keith Rowley, bad for business, bad for the economy, bad for TNT. Stand up for TNT. Stand up for a better economy. Visit www.uncplan2020.com to learn more about our plan to get TNT working again. Now is the time to get TNT back in business.
So you've seen that video. You've seen where this government spent billions of dollars and yet left us with very little to show. And that was then. 1 year later, they have spent more than $300 billion and yet have so very little to show. Perhaps a few things they have to show is the rentals, the Farisal rental, and the contracts to the Minister of Young's family and so on. Those may be the things they have to show. But for you, have they built one school? Have they built a hospital? No, don't get fooled. We built that hospital. And some good news today. I see that they're boasting about Piarco being the best airport in the Caribbean. Don't get fooled. That airport was built by a Pandey government, not by the PNM. So we will take credit for that. So they have nothing to show, but spent over $300 billion to date. And today now, Minister Imbert, Minister of Finance, under whom our economy collapsed, comes like the Messiah. He's a Messiah bringing great tidings. He's come to save Trinidad and Tobago and come to save the world. But he's a false Messiah, believe me, my friends. He is a false Messiah. Because he's realizing the voices out there, the true state of the economy, he attempted to appear as though he now cares for these SMEs, the small businesses, when for the last 3 months he totally ignored their cries for help. Totally ignored their cries for help. If this government cared about the survival of businesses, they would have introduced measures months ago. So they come late in the day, they open up the sector, the retail sector, and yes, here I am, Savior, Messiah, call him Imbert, I've come to save you. So he comes now, he wants to introduce a grant. But tied up with that is massive red tape. So once again, you're going to see what happened with salary grants, that you apply and so much time after, you still haven't got your grants. Imagine, only he boasted today, and I would be ashamed, it is disgraceful, to boast that only 4,000 people out of a possible 24,000 applicants got their salary relief grant. That is disgraceful. So he talks about a massive red tape. Businesses now need cash flow, pay rents, pay workers, survive. This is pure political gimmickry. This is a false Messiah preaching in front of you. In addition, as I said, very disgraceful. 4,000 got grants out of 24,000. Do they even have a care? I think he's just following his leader's clue. Yet again, no word, no way, no plan forward. And therefore he continues to ignore, and his government continues to ignore these SMEs. He ignored them all this time for the entire period of the lockdown. And now comes, as I say, with these false promises to you. They have not processed any VAT refunds for the SMEs, which would have released some cash flow to them. No VAT refunds, not just to them, to most of the businesses. I had already called for issues dealing with taxation as measures to help alleviate the economic crisis. That is, pay the people their VAT. It is not your money. Give the VAT refunds. I said reduce income tax, personal tax, business tax, corporate taxes. You cannot tax a nation into prosperity. I've spoken about your taxation system. None of that has happened. So no VAT refunds for these SMEs. They have not paid small and medium-sized contractors who are being owed significant sums. People like garbage contractors, construction contractors, suppliers of goods and services. They have not paid them. Once again, adding to the collapse of the economy and the suffering. He has not intervened with banks based on their predatory practice of compounding interest on these small businesses. The Minister of Finance, the false messiah, has not processed any significant salary grants for employees of the SMEs who have been left to suffer homeless, hunger, bank foreclosures, repossession, and what is the word when they take back your house, you know, because you didn't pay your mortgage, they confiscate your house, forfeit your house. So who do they think they're now fooling with this newfound conscience, pretending to be a messiah and a savior to the people? I said it is disgraceful, and it is too little, too late, and will not materialize, as everything PNM promises never materialize. And then we have the other messiah, the would-be messiah. We have Prime Minister Rowley, also a false messiah, reveling in vaccines, big vaccine revelry, talking about how many vaccines they've received and so on. And yet it is because of their incompetence and mismanagement. Indeed, yesterday's Express poll speaks to the majority of people saying the government has totally mismanaged the pandemic. And I would say, and add to that, it's not just mismanagement, it is incompetence on their part. Incompetence and mismanagement. So they revel about all these vaccines they've now got 1 year after the fact, but will not take responsibility to the fact that over 1,000 persons have died from COVID. Over 1,000 persons have died. Those deaths are on your consciences and on your hands. You cannot escape from them. Should you have acted expeditiously and competently to get these vaccines so long ago, some of those deaths could have been avoided. They ignore that thousands have contracted the virus and therefore gone through illness and suffering. And yet again, reveling in the vaccines, but because of incompetence, negligence, mismanagement, took so long to get them, a lot of that suffering could have been avoided. So to just revel in the vaccines, yeah, okay. That's like when you boasted you were number one, but you're also number one in the least vaccinated people. I recall, and buffing people to go and take the vaccine will not work. It has not worked. Because of the incompetence and mismanagement with the vaccines, once again, we had lockdown of the country. I spoke to you of the collapsing economy, about the loss of jobs, about the closure of businesses, and worst of all, shutting out and exiling citizens of this country in a foreign land. There's a famous song. It talks about how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land. That is what you did to the people of Trinidad and Tobago when you shut them out. You're now opening the borders, yes, but you could have done that so long ago had you managed this better, had you secured the vaccines better, had you been more competent and not engaged in all kinds of shenanigans. So vaccines, yes. Secondly, now I have to raise another issue about these vaccines. And that has to do with the sites that they have now said will be open to give out the Pfizer vaccine as come Wednesday. Once again, we see the rank incompetence and the abject governance of this failed regime. It is evident even when they come to administering vaccines for children. Even with that, our country was one of the last in the world to receive life-saving vaccines. And when they finally arrived, Rowley and Dialsing and their team could not utilize these vaccines in an equitable and fair manner. Why do I say that? They have selected 14 vaccination sites for children to go to take the Pfizer. But they have ignored large communities with very significant population densities. So the poor people of Pilar Rock Road, the poor people of Kuchawan Trace in Debe, they now have to take scarce dollars to travel to the MIC Center in Pleasantville. We had built and opened right in Pinal, an MIC Center which they have closed down, not functioning. Why is it that you could not use that MIC Center in Pinal so the poor people of Pinal and environs could have gone there? Why you want to send them to Pleasantville? Why are you discriminating against them? And I want to remind you that you also have unemployed parents of Barco and Saparia. Where must they go? La Brea. That's the one center down in the Southwest Peninsula, you know. One in La Brea. What about Point 14? What about Cedros? What about Faizabad? What about Saparia? Why do you have no sites for these people? There are schools. There are many public facilities that could be utilized Because now you're not just talking about adults going for these vaccines to line up. You are talking about children. And if you want the children to go, a parent has 2, 3, 4 children, as the case may be, you have to be more equitable in the selection of your sites for the deployment of the Pfizer vaccines for the children. Tabakit residents, where are they to go? They must go up to Arima. The people of Las Lomas, where are they to go? Are you saying they must go up to Grandi? There are no vaccination sites in Faizabad, in Cunupia, in Cedras, in Point Fortin, and several other districts with large numbers of poor citizens. What about our region served by the Princess Tong Regional Corporation? Princess Tong, Naparima, Maruga, where are you sending them? They must go to Mayaro? Where are they to go? That entire region served by the Princess Tong Regional Corporation. In the same way, the region served by the Pinal Debe Regional Corporation, where are they to go? Where are you sending them? Why don't you keep them in their communities so that you make it easier and therefore more persuasive for them to come out and take the vaccines? This is another graphic example, in my view, of the PNM's twin sins of victimization, incompetence, and on top of it, malice. Large segments of the population, of the children of our nation, are being discriminated against geographically because of your failure to properly select the venues, the sites for them to go to take the vaccine. I call upon you, Prime Minister, to intervene and instruct your Minister of Education and your Minister of Health to have a more equitable distribution in terms of the selection of the sites where the vaccines are to be administered to our children. Do not fail our children again. You have already failed them when it comes to their education. Do not fail them when it comes to their health and the protection of their health and therefore the protection of their lives. I call upon you, Prime Minister, do not leave it up to your incompetent ministers, because then you will be mirroring their incompetence as well. Please step in and intervene. And there's another area that I will come to, still related to the pandemic. And this has to be with the way in which you have created, your government has created the laws, the guidelines, the rules, the regulations for governing and regulating and monitoring the laws for better protocols, better safety in this pandemic. There is a golden thread that runs through the jurisprudence of Trinidad and Tobago and all of the 52 nations of the Commonwealth. We have one common kind of jurisprudence dating back to centuries and still carried forward up to today. And that golden thread in our law, in our jurisprudence, under what we call the rule of law, we are governed under the rule of law, is that the law must be accessible. The law must be intelligible. The law must be clear, and the law must be predictable. This is a basic tenet of the rule of law by which we are governed in this country. And so throughout this pandemic, this government has been guilty of enacting poorly drafted, imprecise laws which leave the population confused. And some of the lawyers are confused because it is being done like a jigsaw. There's so many pieces that you have to try to piece together to understand what is the current position. What is the position today in order if you open the retail business? What is the position when you open up next week the others? You talk about the service providers, hairdressers and barbers and so on. How can you be sure what is the existing position now with the protocols, with the various pieces of regulations? If you will recall, at one time, because of the impreciseness of the laws that they have drafted, the police couldn't even decide whether they could stop gatherings in private homes. So vague it was, so uncertain was the law. And now it is even more important that we have precise, certain law, because we are under a state of emergency. And under a state of emergency, the police are given extraordinary powers. They deal with your rights, your freedoms, restrictions, and so on. And therefore, it is even more imperative under this time of a state of emergency that the laws should be clear, they should be precise, and they should be readily accessible by the public. Each time the government announces a new restriction, they lift a restriction, the population ought to have a clear, easily accessible document that gives all relevant information so they can be understood readily. It is not that people want to break the law, they want to comply, but if they cannot readily find the law, if it's not easily accessible, and if it's not clear and precise, if it's not certain, then you are not encouraging compliance. You are not encouraging compliance with the law and or compliance with the safety and health protocols. So instead of government providing, clear, precise law, easily accessible, what do we have instead? I said a jigsaw. We're in a maze, like a jigsaw puzzle, comprising at this time about 5 different pieces of the jigsaw, and at the same time, multiple variations and versions of these. So, for example, we have 1, the public health regulations, latest version published about 18 July this year. We have emergency powers regulations, second version published 29 May 2021. We have thirdly, curfew times, and these are made by order of the Commissioner of Police. So that has also been varied from time to time. 3, that's 3 pieces. We have a 4th piece, and this has to do with the state of emergency I mentioned already, public health regulations, emergency powers regulations, orders by the Commissioner of Police, guidelines run on a website by the Ministry of Health for different businesses, different types of businesses, and some of these are referenced in regulations and some are not. And 5thly, there are multiple media statements from the Minister of Health, some of which are on the Ministry of Health website, some on their Facebook page, and some contain references to previous statements which cannot be found on the website. So you see the tangled web. How then is an ordinary citizen to access all of this and know what is the state of play at any given moment in time? We end up with a complicated jigsaw puzzle. The ordinary citizen, the small business owner who is finally getting to reopen after these lockdowns, still uncertain. They have to go hunting. You have to go hunting all over to find these various things. Let me give you an example. Bookstores. Schools are going to open. Bookstores are going to open. They're retail businesses. They should have been open today. But on the 12th of June 2021, there was a release stating that the bookstores could open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So there was a restriction on the opening and closing hours. But now that the retail sector is open, they are also retailers. Are they still restricted to those hours of 8 to 4? Or are there new hours for them? Again, uncertainty in what is the situation today. The media statement which announced the reopening of the retail sector, do you know what? It makes reference, that was issued on Sunday, to 6 different statements. Statement 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you have to look at 6 other statements to find out what is the state of play today when you open. The Minister, where are these statements 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8? Where are they? Do the persons who wish to reopen have to go to look for them to understand the parameters of the law? And where shall they find them? Where shall they find all these statements that you refer to when you talked about the reopening? You announced a week ago the reopening of the retail sector. Why didn't you spend that week? Why didn't you spend that week to update the regulations to reflect the current state of affairs and not leave it up to it's like what you call a treasure hunt? A jigsaw puzzle, like a treasure hunt. Go here, find it 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 here. No, that is totally unacceptable if you want to encourage compliance with the law and compliance with the safety and health protocols. And in the past you had regulations talking about capacity, how many persons to gather in one place. You had regulations talking about opening hours and so on. Many retail businesses are not sure what to happen now. How many should they let into their business when they open it today and the rest of the days? How many persons? We talk about capacity. What about the opening hours? You have not told the country. You have not reflected this in any regulations. You have a public health regulation which refers in Regulation 6 to guidelines. And this is what Regulation 6 says under the public health regulations. Small and large businesses shall comply with the guidelines for small and large businesses issued by the Ministry of Health. Well, Mr., where are these? Where are these guidelines? Up to when we last checked the Ministry of Health website, we could not find any guideline by that name. None. I have the Minister of Health website here, https://health.gov.tt/covid/19/covid-19 guidelines and regulations. Really? Really? You expect the ordinary citizen, the small enterprise, small business to go through this website to find these statements and these guidelines? But I'm telling you, we checked. And when we checked up to when we checked, up to today, there was nothing that related to these small and large businesses and the guidelines for them. Now we've reopened the sector. It is irresponsible for the government to make laws in this haphazard, wishy-washy way and leave people to just try to figure out and guesswork it. And just last week, Justice Buddha Singh, Justice of Appeal Buddha Singh, in a case in the Court of Appeal, had to pronounce on a piece of law that Faris boasted about, which was the motor vehicle amendments to bring in a demerit point system. And the court had to say, look, he said about the confusion created by the very imprecise, uncertain kind of drafting. And here we see it again happening with the laws relating to regulating the pandemic situation. So you get a court burdened with interpreting the law because of bad drafting by Faris Al-Rari once again. I call upon the government, if you want to help in this situation, to do two things. One, produce a comprehensive document, a revised, complete, up-to-date set of the regulations and the guidelines and the statements to all businesses allowed to open. Issue that, and not just to the businesses, but set it out and print it in the newspapers, publicize it widely. Make it clear what restrictions are in place with respect to opening hours, capacity, and other requirements. This is not, as I say, just to ensure compliance with the law, but again is to ensure health and safety requirements. Make it clear, as I say, what the restrictions are, what the capacity is to be in these places that are now open. And look, instead of using your press conferences to buff up people and to talk about some kind of weed substance or supplement that you are taking and so on, creating buzz and distraction, look, stop that and use them instead to explain directly and specifically and certainly the changes that are being made, so at any given point in time, people will know what they can and cannot do, and where they can and cannot do certain things. So, my friends, those are some of the areas I wanted to speak with you about. And I've already spoken before about plans to revitalize the economy. The government has shown they have no plans. They are working on a Vicky-Vike ad hoc manner on a day-to-day basis. Their roadmap to recovery has long become a roadmap to nowhere, and they've not been able up to now, 1 year later, to provide us with plans for revitalizing our economy, to take it out of the doldrums where we now are. And we must now look to see what can be done to generate revenue. We are in dire straits. We must now look to see what can be done to create jobs for those most in need. We must see where we can get income generation for the years to come. Our sector, the energy sector, you've shut it down. You've killed that sector, surely and squarely. And so we want to ask, what are your plans to revitalize our economy and our country? I spoke to you before about taxation issues that we can address. Return VAT refunds, give the VAT refunds, remove or decrease the taxes, corporation tax and other taxes, and look at removing the VAT on food to help us with the rising food prices. We had also spoken about agriculture, and we have a plan. We have a great plan which I'll share with you on agriculture to help us to get the food security going, help us to reduce food prices. So I ask you, Ms. Archie, to please run the video about agriculture.
The world has changed due to COVID-19. Now, more than ever, Trinidad and Tobago needs to ensure our food security is protected. That's why the UNC's Economic Transformation Plan makes food security a #1 priority. A new UNC government will immediately give our agriculture sector the shot in the arm it needs by leasing 25,000 acres of former Caroni lands to create agricultural parks. We will also spend at least 10% of the public sector investment program to develop agricultural access routes, irrigation, and drainage. A new UNC government will also incentivize the private sector to establish an agro-processing plant in Couva. Our farmers will no longer have to suffer from wastage or be forced to dump produce. These are just some of the policies the UNC has for improving our national food security. Visit uncplan2020.com to learn more about our full economic transformation plan. Together, we will heal Trinidad and Tobago.
So as I've been saying, agriculture is a major booster for the economy, because we do need a comprehensive plan to reopen the economy, to create jobs, to encourage new business development. We have shared before and will share again in more detail an area I think that we are well positioned. We have competitive advantage in this area, and it has to do with our cultural industries as a major avenue for income generation and the creation of thousands of jobs. And this is a field, is a wide-ranging field. If we were to utilize our cultural industries, it is not just about Carnival. We also have Diwali, we have Tobago Heritage Festival, so many other cultural things that are unique to Trinidad and Tobago. And as I say, that we have competitive advantage. There was a time when we did have competitive advantage in the oil and gas sector. Due to the incompetence of this government, whether deliberate or not, we have failed and are failing in the energy sector. So we must look to other areas. That sector of our cultural industries remains an untapped gold mine, richer than any oil and gas field, and is endlessly renewable. It is a wide-ranging area. You have food vendors, you have artists, you have performers, hoteliers, retailers, sound system specialists, IT specialists, airline industry, transportation. It's on and on. It's throughout. It can impact and create jobs and create revenue, generate revenue across the board in our economy. This is a very important area that remains untapped. Our flagship event, Carnival, is just one of the many national cultural events, and in fact has been one of the most developed. Yet we have not heard from this government any plans to get the sector back on its feet and ready to hold the greatest show on earth once again. We do not hear any vision of how Carnival can be used to drive the cultural sector. But as I said before, we have produced several proposals to develop the creative sector, to increase the contribution to GDP, to generate millions of dollars in forex, and of course, jobs and revenue, generally income. We had a proposal for the establishment of a full carnival in a box, and another day I will speak a little more about this to give you some more details. As I said again, there must be and there can be a cultural renaissance in TNT, which can usher in an economic renaissance, requiring infrastructural development, services, sector development, many other areas which will have important knock-on effects. Again, I say, government, we must not sit and wait and hope for the best. We have to act now. We have to speak to the stakeholders, and we need to get our cultural industries on board, together with other areas, to generate income, create revenue, grow GDP, and of course, build and revitalize our economy. As I say, on another day, I will share some more on our proposals for revitalizing and regrowing for sustainable development of our cultural industries. As I close, I want to thank you all very much. Do not be discouraged, Just do not be discouraged. There is always hope on the horizon. Even the darkest night always ends. And so I want to give you the assurance that we in the United National Congress, we will stand with you. We will fight with you. We will always make your voices heard inside and outside of the Parliament. So do not lose hope. There is always hope. As long as there is God, there is hope. And God will always be there to guide us. We will continue to put God in front and walk behind. May God bless you all. Thank you very much for sharing. And remember, you will never have a leader who loves you as much as I do. Thank you very much.
Blessing to all. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. Join me this Thursday the 19th for another Facebook Live at 7:30 p.m. sharp. Yes.
What time, boy?
7:30 p.m.
But
sharp.
down by you, have fire, flood, tornado. It's only PNM down there, boy. And then people still voting PNM. What are you going to tell them Thursday night?
Makrashe, Kazem Hussein, Kennedy, you all could run, but you cannot hide. Join me this Thursday as we deal with issues that affect this country. I'm out.
The UNC, we coming for all you. All you feel all you have safe seat. No PNM safe politically. Victor Roberts, 7:30 on the dot Thursday. Bless.
Welcome to this walkthrough of the Checklist website, the official newspaper of the United National Congress. Yeah, so this is a very easy website to navigate through, but still some people have asked for a little guidance. Perhaps there might be some features you don't know, and I'll just go through this very quickly for you. Now, most people, when you come for the first time, you're going to get a pop-up block, but this is not my first time visiting the site, so it's not here. But you will see it will ask you if you want to get the checklist delivered to your email inbox. So that way, every time a new issue is published, you will get it by email, and you won't necessarily have to check here and navigate here. You'll get it all by email. So we encourage you to please sign up for that. Sign up to get this in your email inbox, and then you will also be able to contact us. We will be able to contact you as well, not only about the checklist, but perhaps on other activities of the party, and we will be able to strengthen our relationship with our supporters. We very much look forward to that. So this is what you call the home page here, and all the articles are listed. Well, let's start off with, so we go down the home page and we scroll here and we go down to the bottom, and we have a menu here where you can find all the different sections with the articles. Up here we have a search bar, and you can search for whatever you want. Let's say we search for Wade Mark, for example. Right? Then we get all the articles with Wade Mark. When you come here on the articles, most of the articles you'll find have a little section here where you can sign up, because we always encourage people to sign up to the list. Put your name, your email, submit, and you will get back and you will get an email message, and whenever we publish a new one, you'll get it. You'll be added to our list. At the side you also have the menu. This is the same menu from down here. Alright, so and when you click on this, say for example the UNC and Proud section, right? So these are all the articles UNC and Proud. So if I want to get back to the home page from here, there's two things I could do. I could go home, I could go or I could click on here, the ban and the checklist. Right, so it'll take us back home, and let's take let's say shutting the gate here. Right, this is another way you could go home. I'll just click there, so you could go home, and let's say shutting the gate. This also takes you to the next article and the previous article. So let's say I do this, then it takes me to this article. So we have here the About Us page, etc. Pretty simple. And then so we have our comments. Right, so at the end of every article, actually, here's something important. You can share each article on Twitter, on Facebook, or you could print out the article, you could share it on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, on Skype, all these platforms you can share it on. Right, and then these are links to other articles that you might be interested in. And if you'd like to leave a comment, you can by pressing leave a reply. And you press leave a reply. Oh, this one. Reply. I could reply to this, or comment, add yours. This one is actually giving me a little problems there, but I can leave a reply there. Sorry. Right. Let's go to Contact Us here. The Contact Us page. This is where, if you want to give us any comments or you have any questions, just click on here, and then you open your mail program, and you can send us. We have submissions too. Say you have an article that you'd like to submit. Just click on here. We'd love to hear from you. You might have stories that we should cover, right? And please note that all the submissions will be reviewed for suitability. We can't publish absolutely everything, but we will certainly consider it. And then also photos, right? We'd like you to send us your photos of people, places, events, and compelling shots. Right? We want some great shots. Now, although we have this is a black and white newspaper, you could send us color photographs, and we will turn it into black and white. So this is the link there to send the email, so we know that we will be getting all these emails, and we need to check them. Right, so I guess that's really about it. Let's go back to the home page, and yeah, so we have the search, the home, we have our individual articles here, we have the share function, and we have the Contact Us. So that's it. We look forward to the second issue coming out. We look forward to you subscribing so you can get it delivered straight into your inbox, and we look forward to spread the news about the checklist and about getting other people to subscribe to the checklist. So thank you very much. Look out for our next issue, and we thank you for all your support. We look forward to hear from you, and we want this to grow from strength to strength, and we can only do so with your support. Thanks very much. Bye.